So I'm not allowed to practice law. I'm not allowed to do a lot of other things because ethics decides that that's not really a good thing to make sure that the American people can trust that I don't have any divided interests.
Hey, Jasmine Crockett, you could buy stocks and you can get into that game because apparently ain't no ethics over there with that. So talk to Byron. Talk to Byron. He got you. Hey, shout out to all of the subscribers and members here on the channel. My name is Reese Waters, and I'm trouble. Because of course I am. It is February of 2025 in the second Trump administration. What is there not to be troubled about?
The U.S. will take over the Gaza Strip, and we will do a job with it, too. We'll own it.
Ethnic cleansing in Gaza is not a joke, especially when it emanates from the President of the United States, the most powerful person in the world, when he has the ability to perfect what he says. Ethnic cleansing in Gaza is no joke, and the Prime Minister of Israel should be ashamed, knowing the history of his people, to stand there and allow such things to be said. Ethnic cleansing has been a crime against humanity. And I stand here today in the well to denounce what was said, to denounce what the president said, to denounce the complicity of the Prime Minister of Israel, and to remind people that Dr. King was right. Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. And injustice in Gaza is a threat to justice in the United States of America. I rise to announce that the movement to impeach the president has begun. I rise to announce that I will bring articles of impeachment against the president for dastardly deeds proposed and dastardly deeds done.
And as protests are stepping up across the country, Senate Democrats stayed in the Capitol for an all-night session speaking out against Budget Director nominee Russell Vought, who they consider an architect of dismantling the federal government.
Fighting back against.
From the Senate floor.
We need to be furious. We need to be alarmed.
To the streets. Protest to President Trump's policies is growing louder. And now, in response to a lawsuit over federal privacy laws, the administration is agreeing to some guardrails on Elon Musk's power.
But in this particular instance, I am grateful that there are a great many people that are speaking truth to power. And in this particular instance with Jasmine Crockett, I can't even keep up. I literally just posted a video about how she's sick and tired of white tears.
The coddling is for the white boys. That's what's happening right now. I am tired of the white tears.
Is that her best audio clip? What do you prefer? The I'm sick of white tears or no oppression for the white man in America?
Let me tell you, the reason that my colleagues wanted to make sure you understood the same Black history that your side of the aisle wants to delete out of classrooms is because you can then misuse words like oppression. There has been no oppression for the white man in this country.
Oh, no, it's got to be B6.
I'm just curious, just to better understand your ruling, if someone on this committee then starts talking about somebody's bleach blonde, bad built butch body, that would not be engaging in personalities, correct?
A what now?
You guys let me know in the comments, but we got a new entry.
Chair recognizes Ms. Crockett.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chair. It's the faux outrage for me. It's as faux news that I'm hearing, because somehow you guys, and when I say you guys, I am referring to my Republican colleagues, pretend as if you are the heroes of the story. But let me remind you who set the House on fire.
And by the way, that is a play that we have seen from Trump before, but never to this degree.
It's one day.
Trump is trying to repackage the status quo as a victory. That's what the leaders of these foreign countries are learning. You don't actually have to give Trump anything. You
just have to make it seem like
you have
he's
to let
getting
him
something.
announce victory on TV.
It was y'all, so let me go ahead and handle these receipts because I know that I always have to have proof, even though I guess our education system is failing us because it seems like facts don't seem to faze people that vote for y'all.
I would leave. You don't want part of no receipts. No. When somebody say they got receipts, just keep it pushing. It's not going to get no better. And these aren't even like a little receipt. She printed them out. She photocopied these receipts. These are full page receipt. Like she put work into this. It looked like she went to Kinko's for these receipts. You don't want that. You don't want that smoke. And by the way, did somebody say our education system is failing us? Because red states.
All states send tax money to the federal government and get federal money in return. But not all states are equally dependent on those dollars. An analysis done by MoneyGeek used data from the IRS and Treasury Department to rank all 50 states and the District of Columbia based on how much their state budgets rely on money from the feds. They also looked at the political affiliation of the state to learn more about the factors influencing the dependency. Well, the research team found 8 of the top 10 states who depended on federal dollars were Republican voting states. Meanwhile, 7 of the 10 states least dependent on federal dollars were Democratic voting states. The analysis notes, generally speaking, the more conservative states have a lower tax rate and thus less state funding for various programs, which means in turn, federal dollars fill the gap.
It seems like facts don't seem to faze people that vote for y'all, but I'm gonna do it anyway. So, when we talk about debt, I'd ask for unanimous consent to enter into a record this article that says Donald Trump built a national debt so big, even before the pandemic, that it'll weigh down the economy for years.
Without objection, so ordered.
Thank you so much. In fact, it talked about the fact that he ran up our debt almost $8 trillion. It was estimated to be $7.8 trillion at that time. And this is it's actually the third biggest increase ever under any presidential administration. So I don't understand how y'all gonna play the heroes.
And if you recall, it was Trump asking for the debt limit to be removed that held up the deal in December in Congress. Yeah. So not only does he have that record of running up the debt, he has told you exactly where he expects and intends to go. But yeah, y'all trust him on the economy.
I also want to just kind of be clear about some basic level setting of civics, because it seems like civics is evading us. And listen, Governor, I actually appreciate you. I know that in today's times, for whatever reason, if you got a D or an R in front of your name, it has to be all hostile. Listen, I am a former business owner. If I was not sitting in this seat, I would still have my law firm. But, we have rules, right? So I'm not allowed to practice law. I'm not allowed to do a lot of other things because ethics decides that that's not really a good thing to make sure that the American people can trust that I don't have any divided interests.
Hey, Jasmine Crockett, you could buy stocks and you can get into that game because apparently ain't no ethics over there with that. So talk to Byron. Talk to Byron. He got you.
In fact, we do that for people that run our treasury typically. So I'm curious to know if you have an elected treasurer in your state. And you do, actually.
We do.
I know you do because I looked him up. And I'm curious to know. So it's my guess that he's the one that actually controls all of the treasury systems that you have, correct?
Some of the investments.
He controls some of the investments, but also monies that need to be disseminated by the state, that's done by him, correct?
Department of Management and the Treasurer's Office.
Okay. In the Treasurer's Office.
2 separate agencies.
Okay. But you have an agency that does that, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And as you are having this agency do that, these are people that have some sort of ethics that they have to follow, I'm sure. I'm going out on a limb because I don't know how anything works in Iowa. I'm just being honest with you.
Yes.
Okay. Here is the deal. I want the American people to understand that Democrats are not against efficiency. In fact, the last time that this country actually ran to the extent that there was a balanced budget and actually there was a surplus, it was a Democrat in the White House. His name was President Clinton. So we are not against this.
Not only that, I would love to point to how the economy at large has performed under Democrats or Republicans. Yet at the same time, the conventional wisdom is that Republicans are better with the economy, which speaks to the level of engagement of the American public, and it speaks to the varying degrees of messaging from the left wing and from the right wing. It ain't all sweet, Democrats. It ain't all sweet.
What we are against is this idea that we will evade the Constitution or we will evade our own constitutional. In fact, it's not even an invasion. At this point, it feels as if y'all have just decided that y'all are going to castrate your constitutional duty and hand it over to someone who is unelected. It doesn't matter how many cheerleaders he had on the field campaigning for him. That doesn't mean that he gets to go in and sit atop any of our agencies.
I second her use of the term castration. I think castration is a perfect way to illustrate exactly what we are seeing from right-wing lawmakers to enable all of this nonsense. And by the way, these are people that have taken an oath to put their country first, not only over their party, but certainly over an individual. And they are very loudly, very publicly violating that oath. And apparently, we're all okay with it. And not only are we apparently okay with it as an American public, it's their cheerleaders out here waving the American flag. You know, when they're not waving the Trump flag.
And the fact that we had a vote today and we asked to bring him in because we have a constitutional duty. We all took our oath, and maybe some of y'all just don't take it seriously. But I take it seriously when I take an oath to do a job, and my job is to look out and make sure that we don't have any kings or queens in this country. But it seems like y'all have decided that it's going to be Mr. King and his queen, and y'all can pick which one is which.
Oh, we know. Yeah, we know. We know. Matter of fact, you've told us already, Jasmine Crockett.
Let me tell you, the people that y'all keep putting in charge are the reason that we are unproductive, because they don't understand how to govern. And honestly, they don't even have a will to govern. And the fact that they are allowing somebody who basically is a shadow president to come out and tell them what to do, including Donald Trump, because listen, we know that Elon, as they have touted about how they need to get rid of the immigrants, let me be clear, Elon cannot become president of the United States because he is an immigrant who has gained U.S. citizenship later on in life. So he's not qualified to be, or he's not allowed to be under our Constitution. So instead, he decided that he was going to buy a president. And right now, he is pulling all the strings on Trump.
But either way, I want to also talk about Governor. I'm curious to know if you know the answers to these questions. Which party controls the White House?
Republican.
Which party controls the Senate?
Republican.
Which party controls the House?
Republican.
Is that about what the makeup is in Iowa?
Yes.
And that has allowed you to be able to get your agenda across, correct?
Yes.
And you haven't had to bring in somebody to basically usurp any types of norms because you worked through the process, correct?
Well, I did executive orders,
Yes or no?
2080
Yes or
agreements,
no?
and then
Yes-
went
yes
to the
or no? Because
legislature
we're
as
gonna
well. It
have to-
wasn't all of the
I'm
above.
gonna reclaim my time because I
All of
only
the
got so
above.
much time left.
All of the
I
above.
also want to point out that you specifically talked about that you recently had 3 national declarations for disasters, and I want to enter into the record a unanimous consent. Trump moves to abolish FEMA, shift disaster response to states.
Without objection.
And my
Order.
final unanimous consent I'd ask says that Mike Johnson's budget plan is at risk of collapse, even though we know that y'all control all 3 levers of government. So if this is what y'all want to do, then go ahead and clean it up and fix it and just go through the process. And honestly, there's nothing that we will be able to say about it.
Order.
And with that, I will yield.
Now, what Jasmine Crockett is articulating is just the simple fact that by virtue of the numbers that Republicans have, should they go through the process, they should be able to enact their agenda. So what would be the reasons why they would choose to go rogue? Why would you choose to go rogue when you already have the numbers to enact your agenda? The only reason I could possibly come up with is you don't want all of the various rank and file Republican lawmakers to even be aware of what you are engaged in. Could that be it? Yeah. Have you heard Senator Kennedy?
I like omelets. I mean, I really like omelets. I could eat an omelet at every meal. I like omelets better than sex.
Would you want to deal with him? I mean, anytime you can avoid people like that, that's probably for the better. Okay, that's fair enough. I'm looking at the right wing, and maybe you just would rather not deal with them at all. I actually couldn't blame you for that one. But it makes it far less constitutional. I would also like to point to the title of this video as posted on YouTube by Jasmine Crockett herself. Crockett calls out coward Musk. That's right. The guy who has a temper tantrum every time somebody disagrees with him on the platform he purchased and manipulated the algorithm, forcing his feed down everybody's throat. Yeah. Coward sound. That fits. That fits. Huh? She wasn't done?
I'm gonna try my best not to preach.
I just want to say how warm it is to see Maxine Waters and Jasmine Crockett and Maxwell Frost in frame at the same time. It's like one of those family reunion photos with all the different generations.
Thank you. Because every day that we show up in D.C., we show up for you. We know who we work for. We know that we work for the American people. And what we're not going to do is stand around while they pull this bullshit that they're trying to pull right now.
Go ahead.
This is why I'm not going to be able to preach, because I probably won't be able to stop cussing.
Take your time.
That's the kind of church I like. Nah, I like a cussing preacher. I sat in the pew my entire childhood just waiting for somebody to cuss.
But let me tell y'all something. I know some of y'all have been frustrated, and you've been saying, where are the Democrats? Where are our leaders? Well, I'm here to tell you that we ain't never left y'all. All right? We are here. We are also going to make sure that they uphold the law. We are not going to sit around while you go ahead and desecrate our Constitution, or you look at the laws that have been passed into law and say, never mind, we'll just ignore that. Instead, we are going to be in your face, we are going to be on your asses, and we are going to make sure you understand what democracy looks like. This ain't it.
And by the way, if you need a reference to what this is that she's referring to, which is not what democracy looks like.
The CIA is now offering buyouts to its entire workforce, and Elon Musk facing criticism over his government revamp efforts. ABC's Lionel Moise has the latest.
This morning, the CIA is now offering buyouts to its entire staff, the latest move in President Trump's push to downsize the government. It follows a similar offer to civilian federal workers last month. About 20,000 of those workers have now accepted the buyout ahead of tomorrow's deadline, amid reports of mass layoffs to come. ABC News has learned Elon Musk, leading the Department of Government Efficiency, has now moved beds into the executive office building next to the White House, allowing Musk and his staff to sleep there when working late. His staff reportedly includes people as young as 19 years old. President Trump insists they're qualified.
They're very smart people.
Trump also praising Musk for dismantling USAID, an agency that funds international relief efforts.
It's a disaster.
USAID staff getting this email that all direct hires will be put on administrative leave with pay, except for certain staffers serving mission-critical functions. Democrats held a rally outside the Treasury Department to protest Musk's influence.
got to tell Elon Musk, nobody elected your Nobody told you can get all of our private information.
We don't pledge allegiance to Elon Musk. No. We pledge allegiance to the United States of America.
Yes.
Musk has also faced scrutiny after getting a hold of the Treasury Department's payment system, which disperses 90% of all federal payments, including Social Security and Medicare. The Treasury Department insisting Musk's team has been granted read-only access, suggesting no changes will be made without higher authority. And back to those buyout offers made to millions of federal workers. 3 unions are now suing to block the offers, arguing the buyout plan amounts to a threat and represents an arbitrary offer. Lionel Moise, ABC News, New York.
So let me tell you something, Mr. Trump. You gonna learn a few lessons from us. And I'm gonna be the first one. You and your little friend off of Twitter, y'all about to find out, all right? Now let me be clear. What Maxwell said is true. Our job is to conduct oversight. We both serve on the oversight committee. And right now, as elected leaders who tried to go in, we were told, well, hold on a second. We got to check to see if you can come in. Now, y'all know he likes to pal around with Putin, right? He's trying to turn us into Russia. But I got news for him. We, the people, will not go.
That's right.
It's cold out here. And y'all, yeah, we won't go. We won't go. We won't go. We won't go. Listen, the final thing I'm going to say is there are those that have said that we may face a constitutional crisis. I want you to know that the crisis is here. I want you to know that the power belongs to the people, though, y'all. Do not feel powerless. In this moment, as the vice president said as she conceded the election, she said, dark times may be ahead of us. But she said, it's only in the darkness that we can see the stars. I am telling you right now that the stars are right here. It is time for us to shine. It is time for us to be heard. It is time for us to make sure that they know we will not go.
Oh yeah, that's got to be nominated. Yeah, that one definitely has to be nominated. You could put that one on the poll right there. Now, as far as what the game plan actually is, we have seen a little bit of that from Hakeem Jeffries, and we've also seen the response to that from a number of people on my side of the political leanings. What I will assume is that was what he wanted to put out publicly, and there are other plans afoot, right? Right? You didn't just put the whole, you didn't. Okay. All right. Yeah, I'm just saying, you made some of us nervous over here. You know what I mean? Yeah, I like you about to freestyle over there or something. You look a little nervous. I, for one, am happy to see the organized opposition that I have seen from the left. As I have already mentioned in this video, and as Jasmine Crockett mentioned, they do not have the numbers to stop a lot of these things. But one thing they apparently do have the numbers to do is to make enough noise to make these things punitive. And I'm just waiting on one of those right-wing lawmakers to find the castration bucket. Like I'm waiting for y'all to find a castration bucket and ask to be made whole again. It's been 2 weeks. I don't know if you can reattach after this long. I want to thank you guys so much for watching the video and send a very special shout out to everybody who attended our last Members Only Live. Who knows how life would have turned out for me if I would have had a perm. We were celebrating hitting the 1,000 mark, and we're close to 2,000. So there's going to be a lot more where that came from. And by the way, you guys will enjoy the archive of all my past lives and videos, which is only growing. I'm also going to be rolling out some new emojis, some polls, so you guys can help me determine the direction of the channel. And if you would like to join, there is a link to membership in the description of all the videos. Now, I alluded to this a while back. Did you know that YouTube actually tells me who the most active subs are and members are on my channel? And I gotta send a shout out to y'all, because it's thanks to you guys' engagement that the content has been doing as well as it has. So I know everybody don't want their whole government out there, so I'm gonna split the difference. Shout out to Tanya S, Tyler H, Kev Z, Micah E, and Gloria B. I wouldn't be here without you guys. Also, if you guys haven't checked out my second channel, Way of Waters, I'm going to commence to posting content on there as well and talking to some folks that can hopefully help get my mind right so I can make it through the rest of 2025. We all gonna need it. Yeah, we all gonna need it.